Good evening, and welcome along to the big show here on NVTV. It is so good to be back in the studios after such a long time. Now, we've got a fabulous show lined up for you tonight. Peter Cunnah and Ream are back with a brand new album. We're going to find out all about it very shortly. We'll have some great live music from singer-songwriter A.N.J.A. We'll play the new music video from Paul Casey, and we'll find out about Belfast's newest radio station. Before all that, with a track called Woke Up, here is Adetunji.
One, two, three, go! Kicked off, bruised our thoughts in my head. Didn't want to live, but instead I woke up again. I was lost, found myself breaking. I was drunk, anything I'm taking, but I woke up again. I feel I've got a chance now. Up another day, I can pass out. Pain is temporary and we'll last out. I feel my bad days ending. Damn, life is tough, now the clouds opened up, yeah. I've woken up, nothing can shake me off. Smile on my face and nothing can bring me down. Life could really suck sometimes, but I'm ready to stick around. I really did feel myself going under. Even when the sun did shine, I fell thunder. I know I'm gonna make it in the end. I don't wanna be there all again, 'cause I don't want to go back there. Smile on my face and nothing can bring me down. Life can really suck sometimes, but I'm ready to stick around. 'Cause I'm ready to stick around. A victim from the way I was thinking, regurgitating, disregarding existence, exchanging, now I'm making a difference. I beat the demons, now I'm making them listen. Not listening to negatives in my vision. I'm conditioned to elevate my position, conditioned healing any excision, conditioned giving all that I'm given. I just woke up from a dream, going for my dreams, now I'm really living. Life ain't really what it seems, devil intervenes, but he ain't winning. I don't wanna OD, throw away the pills, gotta keep living. Rest in peace to all the G's we lost to the pain, gotta keep living. Now I got it, now I'm making a marsh pit, now I'm up and I'm recouping my losses, loosen up and now I'm moving with suaveness. Enemies, so I'm moving with caution, now I'm living in a matrix. Life is really at my pace and now the word is really for my taking. I just really have to face it. Now I see where I am, know who I am, can't be tricked out of my vision. Now I'm making up a plan to motivate the gang to open up at any assistant. Now this game is in my hand, do it cause I can, time for me to show them the wisdom. I'm just here to make a stance, doing what I can, hopefully to show them the difference. Smile on my face and nothing can bring me down. Life can really suck sometimes, but I'm ready to stick around. 'Cause I'm ready to stick around. Smile on my face and nothing can bring me down. Life can really suck sometimes, but I'm ready to stick around. 'Cause I'm ready to stick around.
So that's a track called Woke Up from Adetunji, and I'm pleased to say Jordan is with us in the studio. So tell us about that song, Woke Up. What's the story behind it then?
So that track I made during lockdown, and it was a bit of experimentation for me, but also a deep thought that I basically had during lockdown, and just being grateful for waking up every day, you know? So I made that song, and I just thought I'd put it out and give a visual aspect to it as well.
And what about the whole lockdown period? Did you use that time to be creative?
Yeah, 100%, because it made me try things I maybe wouldn't have tried before and experience new things, because you're really in your own thoughts, you know, during lockdown. So it allowed me to, you know, think deeper into myself and then just, you know, drop some tracks.
Now for you, you've kind of brought the whole hip-hop scene to Northern Ireland. I don't think there was a scene before until you sort of popped up and started performing, is that correct?
There was bits and pieces that I've definitely seen people doing things around there. Obviously there's always going to be people before me, you know, but we've definitely, you know, brought it to life. Like my whole team, Next Gen, we've just brought it to life, and there's loads of artists that we have just coming up, and you know, and that's one thing for me that is just very important, and I feel the scene is just going to be crazy, especially the wave that we're bringing and I'm bringing right now. It's just going to be a different level.
I think the first time that I saw you perform was at the Northern Ireland Music Prize. That must have been a pretty special event.
Oh, that was amazing. That was really amazing. I met some fantastic people, and it's just an amazing experience, you know, to show people what hip hop is really about and give my musical side to that.
So is there many more coming up through the hip hop scene at the minute?
There's different artists coming out. There's one really, really great guy called Jasper Mafia. You should definitely check him out. There's just great artists, and it's becoming really, really alternative as well. Like hip hop is going into loads of subgenres. So it's like pop rap, punk rap, trap rap. So it's getting really, really different. And I'm seeing a lot of great, like sort of, different artists coming through. And for me, I'm bringing indie rap and different sort of things just into the thing to make people relate to it more, and also give more of my sound to other people.
So how did you get into it? Who were your kind of big influences?
So one of my big influences was Busta Rhymes. That was a big influence to me. Other rappers such as Biggie, the Tupac, and then grime rappers such as like Stormzy. Stormzy's a big influence to me. Singers-wise, I really like old school R&B. So I'm a big fan of people like, I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy called Joe. Joe was an R&B artist that I listened to a lot growing up because my dad always listened to him. So I would always hear that in the background. People like Michael Bolton as well.
Yes,
like my mum is a big fan of Michael Bolton. She has like a CD she plays in the house all the time. And then like she played actually one recently, and I realized I knew all the lyrics, and I was just like, that's just crazy. And these things have influenced me a lot, definitely.
So there was always music around you, but were your family musical themselves?
Yeah, my auntie, she actually sings in a choir. She sung in a choir like and toured and stuff like that quite a lot. My mum is into singing, but personally I play musical instruments, so that's one thing that's kind of got me into it, and also my local community and the church that I played in as well, and I learned trumpet in school, so that's definitely influenced me to make music as well.
All right, now you've come along today to talk about a big event that's happening on the 31st of July, the Multi-Ethnic Expo. What's all this about then? It's
basically just lifting up all the cultures in the community. That's one thing that I'm definitely about, and seeing cultures, go together and coming to celebrate something that's just great. And diversity is so great to have that in cities, because it's like mixing everybody's culture together and really lifting that up, and I feel that's just so important, and that's one thing I want to see more of. So this is taking place at the Crumlin Road Jail. Will you be performing at it? I will be performing at it, actually. I'll be performing on the 31st, so I'm excited to do that. I'm going to be playing some of my greatest tracks, so I'm excited to do that. So tickets are on sale now, I believe, for it, yeah? Tickets are on sale now. From the Crumlin Road Jail website, so get those tickets. Before we go, we have something in common that I just discovered earlier on.
I'm ready. To do with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I've never had a cup of tea in my life. I've had flavoured teas, like peppermint tea and stuff like that, but I've never had a cup of milky tea. You're the same, aren't you? I was literally the same until Shane Todd's podcast. That was the first time I actually ever had tea, ever. It's actually on there, and I was just like, I expected it to taste more like, the way coffee has this certain taste. I was expecting it to have that, and it was just really nice, actually. It's just crazy. So how many cups of tea do you have a day now? None. I've only had the one, that's it. Brilliant. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for coming in, and the best of luck with the Multi-Ethnic Expo at the Crumlin Road Jail. Excited for that. Thank you. Thanks. Now for something a little bit different, and Belfast has a brand new radio station that plays the greatest hits of all time, as well as that also supporting some of our great local music talent too. The station's called Belfast 24/7, and here's what happened on launch day. It's just gone at 10 o'clock. It's Monday morning, Monday the 10th of May, 2021. Good morning, and welcome along to Belfast's brand new radio station. This is Belfast 24/7. So good morning. My name is Robin Elliott, and I'm here with you for the special launch day show today. And of course, I'll be here every day, Monday through Thursday, in this time slot between 10 and 1. So, how do we officially launch the brand new radio station? Well, we thought, let's get a special guest to press the button and officially do the launch. Due to the pandemic, we couldn't have him live here in the studio, but we're going to go live to his home in Dublin. We're going to be chatting to a man from Belfast, a music legend, one of our finest singer-songwriters. I hope he's there. The one and only Mr. Brian Kennedy. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Robin Elliott. And can I say, it just strikes me right now, Robin, that you're actually the Oprah of Belfast. That's what I want to say. Because you don't just have your own program; you've got your own station, just like Oprah. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honor and privilege to press that big red button and tell you that officially Belfast 24/7, Robin Elliott is officially open on the airwaves.
Belfast 24/7.
Brian, how are you, sir?
You know what, Robin? I'm great. And I think that one of the reasons that I love talking to you this morning is because this lockdown, this pandemic has made us all rethink everything and have to, get really creative about what we're going to do. I'm sitting here in my music room where I make all my music and write my stories and all of that. And now you're at home in your place with your own station. So I think that there's positivity to be taken out of all of this. And I think it just bodes very well for the future. I'm feeling very well. And not to mention, as you know, there's all kinds of gigs coming up, Eastside Arts Festival, those kind of things. And also I've just been asked to free my diary to go to China with Secret Garden in late November. We rehearse in Norway. And if all goes well, we go to China in early December for about 3 weeks of concerts.
Now, the great thing about Secret Garden, they're massive across Europe and kind of massive all over the world as well, aren't they?
I know. It is absolutely amazing because, I obviously live in Ireland, and of course people know who Secret Garden are, especially because of You Raise Me Up. Yeah. It just had its 20th anniversary the other day. But yeah, I mean, suddenly we're in, different parts of China. For example, I mean, one of the cities that we played, I think it had maybe 48 million citizens, just one city. And we sold out the opera house. Everywhere we went, it was these big opera houses. And I met people after the show, and they'd say to me, I mean, they all had beautiful English too. And they would say to me, I listened to You Raise Me Up every single day for the last 10 years. And you just think, imagine. I mean, that's all going on over there. I had no idea that my original version of You Raise Me Up with them has just become such a strong part of the culture. And like I say, we ended up doing a sold out tour. Gorgeous audiences, I have to say, beautiful venues. And as you know, culturally, completely at odds with what I would understand and all of that from a food point of view, from the language point of view, all of that. So I love being immersed in a culture that is completely opposite to mine, I suppose. And not only that, I predict actually in the future, Robin, that, your grandchildren will probably have to speak Mandarin, I would think.
Now, talking about the song You Raise Me Up, I mean, I've seen you perform that song live on stage many times over the years, and there's still a magic when you perform that song. Do you feel that as well when you're up there on stage?
It is a most extraordinary song because I think it's emotionally appropriate for a very happy occasion, like a wedding or a birthday or something. And then, of course, it very easily then flips into this great comfort at, let's say, the funeral of Georgie Best or, things like that I often hear from people. I remember when 9/11 happened, of course, there were people writing to me saying that they had played my version of that at different funerals around the country and so on. And then, as you know, do you remember the wonderful Mary McAleese was at Stormont, and we had we had a fabulous Down syndrome choir, I think. They were lip syncing and singing with my version of that record. So yeah, it just has a life of its own. It's now 20 years old since I first did it. And it's incredible. It's just gone from strength to strength.
So what about live gigs? You mentioned the Eastside Arts Festival. You're coming back to Belfast for that. When's that happening?
Look, you've got to applaud everybody's optimism because everything could change in a heartbeat. But I would think hopefully by the time we get to August, I'll be completely fully vaccinated for many months. A lot of people will be vaccinated because I know in Northern Ireland, you are way ahead of us in terms of that stuff. So fingers crossed, it'll be safe for us to gather in some numbers. But watch this space. We'll be making announcements, of course, about it.
And what about plans for any new material? I know you've been recording stuff virtually from your home, but are there any plans for a brand new album?
Yes, definitely. I've already recorded, as you know, I Wish I Had Someone to Love Me, that beautiful old tune. So that will be part. I think going forward, I'm going to make mini albums, I did with Recovery. So I'm probably going to do another mini album. We're working on it now. My producer, Billy Farrell, and I, as you say, we do this kind of thing and talk about what we might do. I send him little ideas on my iPhone, as I always do. And hear from this music room, whether it's the guitar on the wall behind me or the piano behind me, whatever it is, I just try and, put ideas together and we try and move it forward like that. But it's a kind of I suppose that's how Elton John and Bernie Taupin worked forever and ever. They never met together in the same room. But I always am with my writers in the same room. And I actually feed off that. And then I go home and retreat and work on it and then come back to it. So Billy and I are going to be working steadfastly throughout the year. and at some point there suddenly miraculously will be a new record. I know what it's going to be called, but I'm not going to tell you, and all of that. But it's I've got some ideas I'm very excited about.
Brian Kennedy, as always, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for launching Belfast 24/7.
You're very welcome. Listen, here's the Belfast 24/7 with Robin Elliott at the helm.
Belfast 24/7.
94 was very good for my next guest. He shot to #1 in the charts with a song called Things Can Only Get Better. He's back with a brand new album called Open Hearts and Open Minds, and also a great new single called Many Hands. I'll be chatting to Peter Cunnah from Ream in just a second, but here he is with the new single Many Hands. So there we go, some brand new music from Ream. We're loving that. That's called Many Hands, and I'm pleased to say that the main man from Ream joins us on the line. Peter Cunnah, how are you, sir?
I'm really good, Robin. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining us. We are loving Many Hands. I mean, you must be happy with it. It's picking up so much airplay.
It's great, and you know, it's funny because we're not being backed by a major. We're just going out and approaching people ourselves, and the reception's been wonderful, and people are loving it. And I mean, the song itself, it's basically an homage to all of the people without whose good grace we wouldn't be where we are in life. And it's also a call for people to step away from the edge, because I've had some friends who, you know, they isolate and then you don't know about what's happened. The next thing you hear, they've committed suicide, and you're like, this is not, it's not, look, reach out, you know, we're all part of the sort of family. And it's really hard, Robin, when you're in your mid-50s, like I am, to write something positive, because, you know, we're prone to being grumpy as we get older, as you know. So what was nice about it was sort of finding our sort of direction with it, and knowing that it was going to be a Ream record, big gospel chorus, lots of pianos and strings and stuff, and a big, you know, that sound that we're going for. But also in terms of the message it's got, as I say, it's a, you know, all the people who've ever played a part in my life, but I'm also sort of paralleling that for all, I'm throwing that out for all of us to realize that we're only here, as I said, by the good grace of others.
So this is part of the new album, Open Hearts, Open Minds. Was this a project that's taken many years to get together?
This is our 4th album in 3 decades. And we've gone through quite a history, myself and Alan. But mainly the seeds of this were sown in probably 2012 after the last album. And we worked on Meet Me at Midnight, which was the first single from 2015. And out of the beginnings of that, and then during the first lockdown, I wrote quite a few songs on this one with Alan, and we had the chance to finish it because there was no phones ringing, we had no gigs, there was no distractions, and we stayed in our bubble and we put the hours in. And this is the first one we've performed, recorded, engineered, and produced and mixed ourselves completely from scratch. And it's been a learning curve, but you know, when you have the time to focus on these things, and in addition to that, we went and learned Final Cut Pro, which is now means that we can make our own videos. And now I realize how much I've been overcharged in the past. Bittersweet victory, you know. Yeah, you know, I spent $100,000 on the best thing video. Went to
really? Wow.
Yeah, I was hanging off a steel beam being swung over between 2 buildings in downtown Miami. Marcus Nispel, I think his name was, and that cost me $100,000. And the last video we did cost 300 quid, which was for the hire of the room and a few lights, and that was it. The rest of it was just time and imagination. And we did a little lockdown video, so I got the band to, in Many Hands, sing their bit to camera. Some of their family filmed them, and then Alan did his bit, and we sort of paneled it into 4 of us. You know the way you see on everyone's having Zoom meetings, and we just left that's the chorus. So it's sort of a documentation of its time as well, you know. But yeah, listen, like all of us, I have great hopes going forward that we won't lock down ever again, and that we'll be back to normal as soon as possible, because it's absolutely killed the rise of streaming, which is basically not paying artists at all, and the lack of gigging it's a death knell, and we need to get back to what we used to call normal as soon as possible, really.
So are we going to see you back out on the road again?
Oh yeah, unfortunately for you, yes you are. And you're going to be there leading from the front, cheerleading away as soon as we're allowed to. No, we've got a couple of festivals coming up, which is great. And there's talk of a tour now coming up in March next year. So that'll be on our own right, probably get a decent support or something, but we'll see. No, I'm really looking forward to getting it out there and getting match fit again. It's been 2 years of just drinking and putting on weight and not, you know, I'm just losing hope. And I sort of think if it's there on the horizon, I'm going to get fighting fit again, get out there.
And of course, you're back home in Ireland now. You did the whole London thing for over 30 years. You're in Donegal, aren't you?
My studio overlooks Lough Swilly. So I'm in northwest Donegal, a place called Faughan, F-A-H-A-N. And I've really loved it. It's been so inspirational. Apparently the guy that wrote, now I'm not comparing myself to these people, so don't get that idea, but there's something in the water here, because the woman that wrote Once in Royal David City, she's from a church up the road. Right. And the guy that wrote Amazing Grace, he was shipwrecked and had to weigh anchor in had to down anchor in Buncrana. Wow. And Yeah, and so we're sort of sandwiched. And then, of course, Phil Coulter had a place down here. God knows what he was writing on his piano. But I just think it's like it's something about it. I don't think it's completely a blue plaque area, but it's got something about it, definitely. And in terms of the quietness that I get here and the peace, like we've got, like, for example, I've never been a Twitcher. Now I know what that name means, but we've got nesting house martins and swifts. And I come outside my door and I can't, it's like some sort of Hans Christian Andersen movie, right? And I just wrote the song, come out and there's birds flying around. I think, oh, this is what heaven looks like.
Let's talk about Things Can Only Get Better, because you're never going to escape that song. When you first did the song, did you realise it was going to become this massive anthem?
No, we were really, myself and Alan were part of a little scene there in a club called the Love Ranch, and we were we were so full of ourselves, bless us. We called ourselves the Psychedelic Skinhead, and you had sort of shaved heads and suits, and the girls were in Vivienne Westwood corsets and DM boots, right? So this is the look, and we just went for it. There's people through there, Rankin, Jefferson Hack from Days Confused, Paul Daly from Left Field, Graham Park, Paul Oakenfold. All of these people sort of converged on this scene. And when I was standing beside the DJ booth, I used to watch Alan play out, my partner. And I just watched for those moments when people would go nuts, and they'd go nuts when the beats would stop and the strings and the pianos would happen, right? So that gave me all the clues I needed. And so the tools were all there, like there's your palette, and here's what you got to do. And then I had this song that I've been working on, like it's 2 or 3 years back, which just had just happened to fit one of the backing tracks that Alan and I was working on. And when we took it down to that nightclub, Alan used to close the night, and this is a time when they put the lights on at 2 a.m. to get people to leave.
Yeah.
So we had about 15 minutes to clear the venue, and Alan just put on went ding like that, and then nothing, and then it went ding ding ding, and everyone was going, "What's going on here?" And all of a sudden, like the boys were taking their tops off, they were standing like this, like there's some sort of like religious thing going on. It was really spiritual. And everyone went absolutely nuts. And I was going, hang on a minute, son. We might have something here. And then I was sort of like, we worked on it. And the first incarnation, the chorus just wasn't working. I got like 4 or 5 of us got in there and sang the chorus. And it was really lame. And I had no idea what I wanted. So we put that one away. And in another session, we got in like proper professional backing singers, about 4 of them. And they did it, and it was still lame. And we tracked them 7 or 8 times. Fast forward another year, and I'm working on it. We've got this intro working by this stage with Gary Meek on keyboards and piano, but the chorus is still lame and not happening. And then I go in, and my partner Jamie went in. Some of my friends from Ladbroke Grove went in, and we did a Cats chorus, and that wasn't working. And then by the time I sat down, I was pulling my hair out. It just wasn't coming together. My engineer went, right, check this out, Pete. He put up the first session. Then he put up the second session. Then he put up the third. It was like, that's it. That's the size of it. It turned into a choir. I didn't know it had to be a gospel choir. It just sounded like a gospel choir. And all of a sudden, the hairs are in the back of my neck. Going, that's the sound. That is what we need now. That's big. It's like a church thing. It's great. And it just really, really worked. And that's when I knew we had it, because that was just ripping. The word was getting out in and of itself, and that's a very strange position to be in when, you spend most of your life playing A&R people's CDs. They just go, well, they give you an opinion, right? Yeah. Whereas this is the court of public opinion, and they were just going mad for it, and the records were just shifting. Back in the day when you'd sell, 20, 30,000 records in a couple of weeks,
So Things Can Only Get Better becomes a big anthem for yourself, but then because it's such a big song, other people kind of hijack it and take it over, and I'm thinking Tony Blair.
Oh, boo. Yeah, well, the thing is, I was managed at the time by a fellow called Jazz Summers, who was the impresario behind the whole Big Life empire. I mean, if you look at Snow Patrol and La Rue, Killing Joke, that whole thing, that was Jazz's empire. Jazz is a very, very powerful man, a very persuasive man indeed. And I didn't realize that his modus operandi was he was a director, on board member of Princess Diana's Landmine Trust.
Right.
So when Jazz told me I had to go and do this gig, I really had to go and do this gig. If you remember, we had 18 years of Tory rule. The blue team everyone was angry with them, and we wanted to change to the red team. So I sort of threw my hat in with it, because I was voting green before then. And so we went with it. It happened, and I find myself gigging in front of people who couldn't even clap in time. So I've got a theory, though. I think if we want to get elections that are fairer, maybe in the future we can have a dance-off, and any of these people that can actually move with a sense of rhythm might get the job. Might do a better job than any of these bozos that are in there. Politics over, rant over. But yeah, I found myself in that place. But when we went to war in Iraq, I could just see it was a bunch of lies. It turned out to be a bunch of lies. And that was it. I've been politically homeless ever since. And I've known that music and politics just don't mix. So I just don't go there now. I don't really have any political views that align with anybody. I'd love to see a complete reset of and more democracy for people than what we get. But you know, I seem to wake up hugging the pillow more often than not, you know.
Peter, sadly we're out of time. I think we could continue with this for most of the day, but they're telling me we've got to wrap up. We are loving the new single Many Hands. We're loving the new album as well. I'm going to play, we played Many Hands at the start, so I'm going to play another one of the music videos now. I think we've got Meet Me at Midnight lined up.
It's our sort of post-COVID meeting in real life wish. So yeah, enjoy. This is Meet Me at Midnight. Yes, look, I think it's one of our finest as well. So there you go.
artillery. Let me get my ammunition. I will make you look delicious. You're in it. We're driving over the speed limits. Your soul tastes exquisite. Let me make you look alive. Hang your head into the night. Oh boy, I think you didn't get the message. I will make you look delicious. You can run but you can't hide when you're out in the night. And come in tight with me. Sit tight with me. Take a ride with me through the night, baby. Come in tight with me. You and I, baby. I wanna make you feel alive. Hang you out into the night. Life is hard when the peasants don't pay their part. I can heal your aching heart. See your eyes open up wide when I make you feel alive. And come in tight with me. Sit tight with me. Take a ride with me through the night, baby. Come in tight with me. You and I, baby. I wanna make you feel alive. Hang you out into the night. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there we go, some great live music from Anya. That's the new song that's called Monoxide, and she's here in the studio. Anya, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Hello.
I think it was 2 years ago since we last had you here.
Yes.
And since then, things have kind of been moving pretty fast for you, haven't they?
Well, yes, I've been working hard. I'm not standing still. I have released a couple of songs there.
So tell us about the new one, Monoxide. We're playing it on the radio, and the feedback's been really good.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm very happy that it has been received well. It's a very cool track, and it's made for people to enjoy it, so I'm glad that that came across.
And what's the story behind it? How did it all come about?
It came about that I am obsessed with true crime. I love all things dark and mysterious. And at the time of writing it, I was binging some true crime documentaries, as I do. And I became really frustrated at some point because it's a very dark topic and it's heartbreaking. And there's these poor victims that, and there's a lot of female victims amongst them and the male serial killers. And that made me very frustrated. And I, well, being the vengeful lady that I am, I wanted to turn around, or how do you say, switch the roles and become Lady Vengeance and be the person in control.
Oh, wow. Let's talk about you then, because obviously we can tell from your accent, you're not from Northern Ireland.
This is true, I'm from Germany.
So how did you end up in Belfast then?
I ended up here 4 years ago. I started as a volunteer for an organization called Volunteer Now. And after my 1 year placement, I decided to stay and make music.
And is it working for you? It obviously is. You're releasing records, so it must be good.
It is working for me, I suppose. The last year has been difficult, but no, I'm not giving up. So.
But did you use that time during the pandemic to kind of be more creative?
Yes and no, because being in such a low time and a low mood, it's hard to create. Yeah. I think for a lot of artists, it was difficult to find motivation and inspiration. But after a while of maybe being down in the dumps, and then you just have to dig yourself out. And so I did use the time to be writing and recording songs. Maybe more. I always think I could have done more, should have done more, of course. But really, it was okay. And I recorded tunes and released them and did the whole release campaign. So, yeah.
And all the reviews so far have been good. I mean, I saw one review that described you as a Belfast's answer to Stevie Nicks. Now that is quite big.
I know, big words. I love it. Yeah.
So is Stevie an influence of yours then?
She certainly was for my EP, Digital Love Spells, that I released last year, with her whole mystical, also feminine empowerment of sorts, but all the whilst focusing on, sort of a bit of mystical ambient, about heartbreak. That definitely inspired me for my EP, yes.
So over the past year, it must have been difficult knowing that you couldn't pick up the guitar and actually get out there and perform in front of a live audience.
Yes, that was really horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much was taken away from us, and I know people have done online gigs, and I tried a couple of online gigs myself, but it's just not the same. If you don't see your audience, because the relationship between performer and audience is so important. Yeah. I'm sure you know. You live from that, and if you sing to a screen, it's not the same.
And I remember the first time that I saw you, you were busking on the streets of Belfast, and even though you were busking on the streets, you still had that connection with everybody who was coming past and stopping to watch you. Yes, that's true. And busking, I have been picking it up even more during this last year when I could. It's saved my sanity a bit, because exactly, you're in the streets, but people are there and people are listening. And so the relationship is there. It's different than at a proper gig, but it gave me what I needed. And what about the people out there in Belfast who are on the streets watching you perform? Are they supportive? Very, very supportive. They have really kept me and my spirit alive. So they are a reason why I didn't give up yet. I know that sounds very deep, and it's true. It's true, because you've been struggling so much. Many artists and musicians and people are struggling, not knowing if it's worth pursuing a musical career or a creative career when there's very, very little support from upstairs. Yeah. And then going busking and having people come to me and saying, thank you so much for doing this, keep going, and you've just cheered up my day, that is the whole reason really why we all do music and arts, is to connect with people. So busking and the people that were listening and talking to me have helped me so much. I'm sure there's people who are watching you going, she makes it look so easy. And you do when you're performing out there, but for any musician to get into the recording studio, to pay for the recording time, to pay for the promotion, to pay for the photographs, to pay for everything you need to do behind the scenes, the stuff that people don't necessarily realize happens, it must be tough as well. That is the toughest part. The performing and the songwriting is the nicest and easiest. And people think that's what you do, that's all you do, but no. Especially when you're doing everything on your own, it's incredibly hard work and difficult. So yes, like you say, all these things need to happen. It's a full-time job,
Yeah.
So the single Monoxide is out now. What's in store for the rest of the year then? Is there going to be more music from you? What's happening?
Yes, there will be more music. I will release a music video for Monoxide, and then there'll be another single.
Wow.
Yes, at the end of summer or autumn. So,
Okay. We look forward to that. We've heard Monoxide already. I know you're going to do a second one for us. What are you going to do this time?
This song is called Man Will Die Tonight.
Well, here we go with Man Will Die Tonight. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, here is A.N.J.A.
They say that something's wrong with me. I swear that I won't do that thing again. Baby, you're not good for me. I'm pleading for temporary insanity. Say hello to the end of your time. Bad behavior ain't no crime, and I'll die tonight. The water's cold and I can't see. God and his women are not comforting. Everyone is on the run from me. I come and you sink into oblivion. Say hello to the end of your time. Bad behavior ain't no crime, and I'll die tonight. Sayonara, here's the clue. There must be something in the water for you. And when you're swimming round and round, they reach in and make you drown. Say hello to the end of your time. Bad behavior ain't no crime, and we'll die tonight.
So that's all we have time for on The Big Show this week. A big thank you to all of my guests. And to play us out, we're going to feature the brand new single from Paul Casey. It's got a fabulous music video that you're going to see right now, and it's called Wide Open Road. See you next week. Bye-bye.